DreAllDay.com.
Everybody, Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Now we're here for the Q&A part 2. We got about 100 new questions, comments here on the last video. I have not even looked at these, so I don't even know what y'all asking. I'm reading these one by one, starting with the oldest ones and scrolling all the way up to the end ones. Right now, I'm recording this on Friday evening. It's about 5:45 Eastern time right now. That's when I'm recording this. So if you post a comment after this, your comment didn't make it into the questions. If you posted some whack-ass comment or question, then I will not respond to it. You can try again on the comments to this video. So when you see this video, if you got a question I have not addressed yet, leave it in the comments to this vid right here, and then I'll get to that on the next one. As I said before, as long as I keep getting good questions, good quality stuff to discuss, I'm going to keep going with this. And it should start to get whacked, then I'm going to discontinue it. And please, whoever is watching this, do not come into the comments here and start replying to shit. I'm going to answer everything in video format, so do not reply to any of the comments you see to this video. And then Q&A's number, the original one and number 1, which is the video before this one. There's no point in posting anything else to those. Those are done. I'm not replying to anything else in those videos. So we're going to get right into it right now. I'm going to just go right through these. If you got your name on there, I'm going to read your name, read your question, and I'm going to go with my response, whatever it happens to be. Let's get started. King Cobra says, how did you deal with lower back pain, and have you ever played through injuries? Well, lower back pain, if your lower back hurts, there's a few things you can do. There's some stretches you can do. I ain't going to get here and demonstrate them. If you're on YouTube, so just look on YouTube for lower back pain exercises, lower back pain stretches, and there's a bunch of stuff on YouTube, like yoga teachers, trainers, and fitness people. There's plenty of stuff you can do right there on the spot, wherever you at, in your office, in your home, whatever, to stretch out your lower back if you're having problems with your back. But in addition to the actual exercises, if you're having problems with your back, you could probably look to your hamstrings. If you got tight hamstrings, that'll tighten up your lower back. It's like they call it the kinetic chain. So if you got certain injuries or tightness or imbalances in certain areas of your body, they actually can connect to other areas. So like, for example, your foot might be hurting, but there's not anything wrong with your foot. It might just be something wrong with your ankle. Or if there's something wrong with your knee, it might be your quad or your hamstring or your glute or your hip that's causing the pain in your knee. But you looking at your knee trying to figure out what's wrong with your knee, when it's really the problem is all the way up in your hip. That's called the kinetic chain, and that's something I didn't really know about. I actually learned that from dealing with Maria, who's a trainer, reading a lot of fitness stuff, reading a lot of books, reading a lot of blogs, articles, things like that. All this information, all you out there listening, is all available to you. Like, in the world we live in now, it's the information age. Anything you can name right now, name something you want to know something about. You go online and there's plenty of information, whether it be a book, a blog, a Twitter feed, a Facebook page, and it's all out there for you to consume, and all you can get it. At the most, it'll be a book, and a book will cost you at the most $20. You can get it right there on your phone. If you got an internet connection, you got a computer, you can buy a book. Now, if you choose to buy it or don't choose to buy it, that's a different story, but you can afford it. So all the information is out there. So to answer your question, dealing with the lower back, look on YouTube. There's plenty of stuff that give you a clear demonstration of exactly what to do. Have I ever played through injuries? Now, there's a difference between being injured and being hurt. I've never actually been injured. The closest thing I've ever been to injured, knock on wood, was I had knee tendonitis in college. I sat out for about 10 days. I came back and I kept playing. That's the worst I've ever been, quote unquote, injured. An injury is like if you tear something, you got a torn muscle, a pulled muscle, something breaks, you break a bone, that's injured. And when you're injured, you can't play. Injured is like you get carried off the field, you got crutches, you have surgery. That's injury. I've never actually been injured, but playing through hurt. People can get hurt. You can get a jammed finger. You can have tendonitis in your knee. You can play through it. You could have a hurt back. You can have sore muscles. You can have a bruised muscle. You can have something like that and play through it. That's hurt. There's a difference between playing injured and playing hurt. As far as each player is concerned, each person individually has to decide what they can play through and what they can't. And of course, it's going to be outside pressure depending on how known you are, how important you are to the team, how much people know about your injury. Like when Derrick Rose was hurt, he sat out the whole next season, and people was like, well, Derrick Rose come back. You know, is he soft? Do he not want to play? Blah, blah, blah. Certain players get hurt. You're like, oh, that dude's soft. He don't want to play through his injury. Look at this guy. He played through his injury, the same injury, but everybody's body is different. So you had to decide whether you can play through something or not. And ultimately, always remember that when everything's over, when basketball's over, whatever sports you're playing, you'll probably be at the most 40 years old. You only live half of your life. You still got to live the other 50%. So if you do something that you know you shouldn't do, you play through that injury, you play through that hurt, and do irreparable damage to your body, you got to live with that body for the rest of your life. You can't buy another one. So always think twice about it and be smart. And ultimately, in the conclusion, you had to decide what to do with your body. Don't let anybody else tell you what to do with it. Next question. JJ says Dre Baldwin versus Smallville. That's the verse 1 guy. Well, like I said, I'm sure somebody else going to say something about that in here. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. They're based in Texas. I'm in Miami, Florida. If the game happens, we'll play, and we'll see what happens then. The better player will win, whoever that may be. And if it don't happen, it don't happen. All right, that's it. There's nothing else I really got to say about that until or unless the game actually takes place. Next question, Elvis Gonzalez. He said, am I going to do another open clinic at LA Fitness in Miami because school is almost over and he wants to participate? Probably in the summertime, Elvis, we'll see. I think maybe if I do it in the summertime, then probably get more people. Because if I do it during the school year, you know, y'all be at school, so you can't really do it. So I'm thinking maybe like May, June, July, something like that. But we'll see. That's very far off. Don't hold me to that. There's no set date. There's no guarantee that's going to happen, but we'll see. Rich says, I'm coming back from injury. I want to get bigger and stronger. He wants to go to another level with basketball. Would it be best to start with the Ultimate Athlete or Position of Power program first? I say Ultimate Athlete because it more works on the overall athleticism of the body. Speed, quickness, conditioning, flexibility, agility, power, core strength, endurance, stamina. Covers everything you need to play basketball, where the Position of Power is more a strength training program where you add muscle, add bulk. Do the Ultimate Athlete first. And those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, those are programs available on hoophandbook.com that he asked about. That's Rob J asking that question. Ali Foye says, in an earlier video said, I got a chance to play against John Wall. Can I talk about that experience? No, I don't think I ever said that. I've never met nor played against John Wall. I think you was watching somebody else. Godly Exclusive said, how do I gain quote-unquote good weight? In other words, muscle or lean mass. Lift weights and eat more food than you eat now. Consume more calories and lift weights. Then referring back to the earlier question, check out the strength training program called Position of Power, hoophandbook.com. If you just watch, and on the video description there's a video where I actually interviewed the person who wrote that program. Her name's Maria. She's my trainer. You'll seen her in my videos. I did a Q&A with her basically. She didn't know what I was going to ask her, and I asked her a bunch of questions about strength training related to the program. She answers a lot of stuff that a lot of you could probably learn from if you watch that video. So go to the website, hoophandbook.com, Position of Power, you'll see the video. Elias Money says, one of my plans for 2014. You have to watch and see. When I do it, then you'll know I was planning it. But until then, you won't know. Eli Classfield says, Dre, when you went to college, did you get a scholarship or you paid for college and try out for the basketball team? Eli, read my book. It's called Buy a Game. It's available for free on my website, dreallday.com/buy-a-game. That's buy, B-U-Y, like buy when you buy something from the store with money. Buy a Game. That's my book. It's completely free. You can get the PDF on my website, dreallday.com/buy-a-game, where I talk about my college career so you can get that question answered in detail and then some. And he says if he doesn't get a scholarship, so he take a year off from high school and work to make money for college. He wants my opinion on if that's a good idea. Eli, this is your life. I mean, you want me to make a decision on your life? I don't even know you. I got my own life to live. I'm not making that decision. If you want to take a year off from college and make some money to go to school after that, then you do that. If you don't, then you don't. And if you about to go to college and you get out of high school, I mean, you about 18 or 19 years old, roughly. This means you're close to being an adult. You're close to being a man. And if you're a man, you need to make your own decisions, and you need to live with them, whether they end up good or end up bad. But ultimately, you will be responsible for those choices. So this is a good place for you to start. ASAP Lamar, he says he got love for me. He watches my videos. ASAP Lamar, appreciate that. I got love for all y'all who watch my videos, all the fans out there, even those of y'all who don't comment. I appreciate y'all. Snapback says, can I put the videos of the stuff they asked for, videos on NBA overseas, in the description so you're not looking for the videos for an hour? Snapback, no. All you got to do is look in the search bar for what I tell you and you'll see it. For example, when I said a video about playing in overseas, all you got to do is search Dre Baldwin overseas, and the video's right there. It's 40 minutes long. So all you gotta do is look at the times on each video and you won't miss it. It's the only one up there. So if it take you an hour to look for that, I don't believe that. I think you're just lazy. Obviously you know how to read and write because you left that comment. JCL says that I played basketball when I was younger, and if I did, can I tell the story? JCL referred to my book that I just mentioned. It's called Buy a Game on my website, dreallday.com/buy-a-game. As far as the links, another thing, Snapback, if you really want the information that I'm telling you about, you'll go get it. Now, if you lazy and you just want me to hand it to you, then it's not really that important to you, so don't waste my time with the comments. ASAP Lamar says he loves my stories. Can I make some more? When I think of something, I'll make a story about it. That's on my other channel. I think that's youtube.com/Dre Baldwin. When I think of stories from my life, not necessarily basketball, I'll record them, put them up there. When I think of one, I'll record it. If it's funny, I'll put it up. If it ain't funny, then I don't put it up. Jeezy Dog PSN says he's 12. He's on the basketball team. How do I become a great scorer? And what program should you use to be a great scorer? If you want to be a great scorer, well, great is relative. I mean, great is just a matter of opinion, so I don't know what you mean by great. But if you want to be a person who scores a lot of points, then put the ball in the fucking basket. That's what a scorer is, a person who scores points. You want to be a scorer, check out the Signature Workouts Get Buckets package. That's on hoophandbook.com right there on the main page. Get Buckets. It's a bunch of players' programs packaged together. I think that's LeBron, James Harden, KD, Kobe, Dwayne Wade, Stephen Curry, I believe, is in that package. Michael Jordan's in that package. Allen Iverson, I think, is in that package. I think that's it. You go to the website, you click on the program description. Everything is there in detail, explaining to you exactly what you get in each program. So you only have to go off of what I'm saying here. Go to the site that I just told you, hoophandbook.com, and it'll tell you exactly what you get. Andrew A. asked me, do I smoke? No, I absolutely do not smoke. State of Nate 802 says, do I like/what do I think about baseball? Baseball was the first sport I actually played organized. I played baseball. I started playing when I was about, I think I was around 4th or 5th grade, which means I was about 9 years old. My dad was actually a coach. I played neighborhood baseball where they used a pitching machine, where they put the ball in the machine that comes straight down the line every time, the exact same spot. And I played that for about 4 or 5 years. By the last year, I was really good at baseball that way. Just hitting that shit out the pitching machine. But when I got to having to go against live pitching, like a person actually pitching the ball, I was garbage. I was terrible. I could not hit a baseball to save my life. I wasn't even that good of a fielder. The only thing I was good at, I played center field. I was good at catching the ball. Like, somebody hit a fly ball, I could catch it. But even a ground ball, if somebody hit a ground ball that got through the infield, to me, I would miss them sometimes. In the outfield, I'm missing the ground ball. By the time they get all the way out there, it's not even going that fast. I'd be missing the ball. I could throw the ball. I was a good thrower. I had a good arm, and I could catch. And I could run the bases if I walked. If I got a walk from live pitching, I could run the bases and eventually score. On the pitching machine, I could hit the shit out the ball. But in real life pitching, forget it. So as far as your question, like, my dad, actually, he still coaches baseball to this day. And that was like, excuse me, that was like the early 90s, maybe even late 80s that I was playing. It's been over 20 years. My dad still coaches baseball to this day. He coaches in the Mount Airy baseball program in Philadelphia. They got a serious program there. They take care of the field. Like, they got, the coaches is for real. They got a draft for the players. They ain't had that when I was playing. It was just some bullshit pickup baseball pretty much. It wasn't exactly pickup, but it was bullshit. But my dad, he loves that stuff. He coaches 10 to 12-year-old kids, Mount Airy baseball program. He actually coached a kid. His last name is Biddle, who got drafted by the Phillies, and I think he's on his way to the majors probably next year. I think my dad was telling me next year he might make the majors. All right, Michael. So I answered, what do I think about baseball? That's pretty much what I think about it. Do I watch baseball? Not really. I'll take a look during the playoffs, like the World Series and stuff. I'll pay attention to that. But during the season, could I just watch a baseball game? No. Could I go to a baseball game and pay attention? Yes. If I'm at the game, I'll pay attention. I've been to a couple. When I used to live in Tampa Bay for 1 year. I went to a couple Clearwater Phillies games. I like those. Like the small, little intimate stadiums. The food ain't too expensive. You know, people there is way more relaxed because it's like in a town that don't usually get the baseball because the minor league stadiums be in the small towns. So yes, I got some love for baseball, but you won't see me out there playing ever. Michael Galby says, I love your answers. They're so simple and straight to the point. Well, thank you. Luke Fang said, how did I meet Eric Thomas? I got in touch with Eric Thomas. I told him I wanted to do something with him. He hit me back, told me when he was going to be in town. We made it happen. That was it. Straight to the point. Now, Jamie Gonzalez says, do you have respect for Kick Genius, or do you think they're punk kids? That's funny. Now, I got respect for Kick Genius. They good dudes. They was when I was at the Nike Summer Series last August. For those of you who don't know about Summer Series, go to my channel. I got a playlist called Summer Series. You can watch all the videos and tell you exactly what it is, what happened, how I got in it, and everything in detail. Probably more information than you want, but it's all there. All right, so don't ask me what it is. I played with them. You know, Trey was on my team. Jay was on the other team. We got a chance to sit and talk a little bit. We was only in New York for like 3 days, less than 3 days. We got a chance to sit and talk a little bit. We actually did a Q&A, Jamie. So you asking this probably means you don't know about the Q&A I did, because if I thought they was punk kids, we wouldn't have did a video together. So yeah, they doing good things. You know, they came in with the sneaker review thing, which is big, I see. I'm not into sneakers at all, but I see that a lot of people are into sneakers, so they kind of in that market, and they doing really good. And then they mix it in with doing basketball drills and stuff like that. So yeah, I see they carved out a nice niche for themselves. They doing real good. All right, so that's the answer to that question. For those of you who don't know about the Q&A, I got a playlist on my channel, again, called Collaborations, or it might be called Q&A videos, one of those, where I got Q&As of all the people I've done videos with. That is Coach Christian Crudelli. He's an overseas professional coach. Who else I do a video with? Goddamn. What's the dude name? Super Handles, the ball handler. Kick Genius. Devin Williams, a.k.a. 10,000 Hours. Big Brandon Carter. And there's a couple others I can't remember. Go on the playlist, you'll see it. The Got Game says, how do you get rid of knee pains? I'm experiencing them a lot lately when I play, and it can dictate how I play, even work out sometimes. It's something I can't do. I've been to the doctor, and they say nothing is wrong. Well, you probably need to get you a new doctor. If you say your knee was hurt and they told you nothing is wrong, then you probably paid too much. It depends on what exactly the pain is. First of all, the Got Game. Just saying I had knee pains is not enough information. And on top of that, I'm not a trainer. I'm not a physical therapist. I don't have enough knowledge to even tell you what to do. Even if you had a specific problem, I'm not the guy to ask that. I'm a basketball player. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified to give you any information. So you shouldn't be asking random people on YouTube about that. You need to see somebody who can actually take a look at you and see it. If you don't have access to that or can't afford it, or for whatever reason, you could probably try emailing my trainer, Maria Solon Scally. Her email is maria@groovysweat.com. Hit her up. She might be able to help you. But you got to come with some detail. Don't just say my knees hurt. That's not enough information. London Hagar. What do I think is the most important kind of strength? Arms, legs, core. Also, who was a player or who did I look up to as a kid? There is no such thing as the most important kind of strength for basketball. If you want to be a basketball player, basketball is a total body sport. You need your legs, you need your arms, you need your core, you need everything. There is no one muscle that's going to make you shoot further jump shots. No one muscle that's going to make you jump higher. You can't just do calf raises to jump higher. You can't just do bicep curls to shoot threes. It does not work. That's not how basketball is played. It's a full body movement. You shoot a jump shot. You look at the video of somebody shooting a jump shot in slow motion. Their whole body is moving. Their legs, their arms, and the core coordinates all of that movement. So there is no one most important strength or muscle. All right, so that question is an oxymoron. Then what player did I look up to as a kid? Same player I look up to the most now, Michael Jordan. That's it. Mr. Prototype Reckon says, I like that you're just real and not mean or too nice. You say it as it is. I respect you. I appreciate that. Respect back. Luke Fang says, have I ever hit a game-winning shot? Absolutely. Last summer, actually, I hit my first ever buzzer beater, like ball in the air when the buzzer's going off and made it. Last summer was the first time I ever did that. But I've hit game-winning shots with, like, time still on the clock. Yes, I have. Mr. Q Ball says, do I like watch college basketball? If so, what do I think is the best player this year? I do not watch college basketball. Do I like college basketball? Not really. Who do I think is the best player? I don't even know. I'll be reading the chats. I'll be reading Chad Ford's chats, and I'm a big fan of Bill Simmons. So I follow them when they talking about the draft and the players who are going to be in the draft this spring, this summer. But I don't really watch them. Half of them I don't even know what they look like. I know their names, but I don't even know what they look like if they walk right past me. So, no, I do not watch college basketball. Jamie asks another question. He says, I'm 6 foot, 15 years old. I'm the skinniest kid on the courts. Hold on, let me turn the brightness up here. All right. Jamie says, I'm 6 foot, 15 years old. I'm the skinniest kid on the court. Do I think a skinny guy like me should still be posting, or should I switch into shooting, disregarding skill level? Jamie, why do you have to do one or the other? Why not have enough game to do both? That's what you should ask yourself. Sebastian Louis got swag. I love playing basketball, but my dad doesn't like it. He says work on your education first. How do I convince him to let me bring my game to the next level? You don't convince him. After he already told you what he told you, you're not going to convince him anything. Work on your education like he tells you. It ain't like you got to be studying 24 hours a day. When you got time to practice, make the most of that time. That's the time you got. Make it work for you. If it's 30 minutes, make 30 minutes work for you if you do it right. Just like Superhandle said on Q&A. If you got 10 minutes, if you put the right effort and you know what you're doing in that 10 minutes, you can get something out of that 10 minutes. If you got 3 hours and you bullshit, you get nothing out of the 3 hours. So it's not about how much time you got. Whatever time you got, make it work for you. Make it worthwhile. Zachary Sperling. My coach tried to develop me like a big man. They don't let me play my game. I'm a 6'4" guard. What should I do? I've covered this several times, Zachary, but I'll say it here again for everyone. If you are on a team and the coach is not letting you play the position you want to play, you're not getting the playing time you want to get, you're not getting the ball as much as you want to, you got 2 choices. You got 3 choices. Number 1, go to the coach. Everything you saying on YouTube and this comment, you should be saying to him. If your problem is with the coach, what are you telling me for? What am I going to do? Nothing. Go to the coach and tell him every problem you got. 99% of you got all these problems with the coach and you don't never say shit to the coach, but then you come say it to me. So go say it to the coach. That's option number 1. And the coach will then give you his response. That's the best option. But it's also the hardest option because most people got a lot more balls when they talking shit behind somebody's back than when they got to say it to their face. Option number 2. Shut the fuck up, play on the team, and be in the situation that you in and deal with it. That's it. Just live with the situation you got if you don't have a heart for option number 1. All right, that's option number 2. Option number 3, quit and go play for a different team that will let you play the way that you claim you should be able to play. Those are your 3 choices. So pick one, Zachary. Mr. Prototype, again, says, what's my top performance shoe? I don't have one. I don't give a fuck about different shoes. I mean, I'm a good player. I don't care what kind of shoes I got on. I'm going to do my thing. But you can ask one of the sneaker guys about that. Farmer Simpson's another guy I did a video with. You can ask him. He's a good guy to ask. Prankaholic Prods says, if you have kids and they tell you want to play at the highest level of basketball, will I push them and have them play every single day? That's a good question. I don't have kids, but if a kid told me that they wanted to play basketball like me, like their dad, and I'm their father, but I push them to a certain point. It's kind of hard to say until you have kids. I don't have kids, so it's kind of hard for me to project how it would be. But if my child wanted to get into basketball, of course, I'd show them everything I could. I mean, I know a lot about basketball. I put a lot of time in my life into basketball, so of course I would help them. I probably want to get somebody else outside of me too. Because at the same time that I want to be a father before I'm a trainer. So I wouldn't want to be necessarily both at the same time. But again, it's hard to say until I'm in the situation. So I can't really tell you much more. Blur Burlsey says, can I do performance reviews on shoes because I'm skeptical when buying things? Well, Blur, if you skeptical when buying things, what the fuck you buying it for? Just don't buy it. You know, buy it, try it on, play in it. If it's good, it's good. If you good, you're going to be good no matter what shoes you got on. I'm not really into this. I know the sneaker thing is blown up. Sneakers is big right now. Everybody's going crazy over sneakers. You can't even buy a new pair the day they come out because everybody buys them like within 60 seconds of the shoe becoming available online. I'm not really into none of that shit. I mean, the bottom line is this. If you can play, it don't matter if you got on the Derrick Roses or the KDs or the Kobe's or the LeBrons or some Jordans. If you can play, you can play. If you can't play, I don't give a fuck how much you spend on your shoes, you're still going to be a bum. That's my perspective on it. I know shoes, like I said, I know shoes is big business right now. I ain't got nothing else to say about shoes. And can I do performance reviews on shoes? Hell no. That would require me to go out and buy a bunch of them, which I'm not going to do. And that would require me telling you what's the difference between one shoe and another shoe, which I really don't give a fuck about. You can play, period. Tough Tanny says the Q&A, the last one was hilarious as hell. I'm glad I entertained you. Valkyrie 26. How did I start talking to Coach Nick on B-Ball Breakdown? Same way I talked to Eric Thomas. I wanted to reach out to him. I reached out to him. We communicated, and that was that. Rich Berkeley, would I suggest weighted basketball gloves for dribbling? Would I suggest them? Not necessarily. I mean, if you want to wear them, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with them. Would I suggest them as if saying go and do it? Not necessarily. I mean, you can take all you players out there. I know there's a lot of training equipment out there. You got the cones, you got the fucking hurdles people be dribbling under and shit. You got trainers be using bean bags and tennis balls and all this other bullshit. Listen, you can become a great elite basketball player with nothing but a ball and a court. You don't need two balls. You don't need a weighted ball. You don't need no special kind of shoes. You don't need no equipment off no website. You don't need nothing but a basketball and a court to practice on. That's it. You don't need any of this other shit. I don't suggest nothing else unless they paying me to suggest it. And if somebody pays me to suggest the product, I'll let you know they paying me to suggest it. All right? So that's that. Scaroni39 says, I'm a short point guard. I used to purely score. My friend who used to play point guard moved to shooting guard because he's a great scorer. So now I'm becoming a better passer. So I'm a pass-first point guard now. And he asked, does a player like me naturally have the ability to pass like an instinct, or is it because all practicing? Is John Stockton or Steve Nash a natural passer that teach themselves that? Scaroni, how the fuck would I be able to explain your instincts? You should be telling me. Why are you asking me to explain your instincts? You should be telling me, hey, I am this. I can't explain you. You had to explain you. And I can't explain John Stockton or Steve Nash either. You would have to ask them when you meet them. Valdemir, number 1. All the one-on-one games have I posted. Have I won them all? Who's been my toughest competition? And the guy who's bald and talks a lot of shit, is he my friend? And all the one-on-ones I posted, did I win them all? No, a couple of them I didn't win. I don't know if I put the game. It might not have been the game by itself if I didn't win it, because I've changed formats on how I post them sometimes. So in the majority of them, I win. Like 98%, I end up winning. If somebody beats me in a game, I don't never play nobody just one time. So if we play like 5 games, somebody might win 1 game. Or if we play 10, somebody might win 2. But overall, I always end up in a winning position again. Any person I play one-on-one, my overall record with that person is a winning record. The ball guy who talks a lot of shit, yes, my man B Battles. He's my college teammate. He was actually my roommate in college. And yes, he is my man. He is my friend. The Jaywalk says, are the LeBron 11s worth the price to hoop in? I addressed this already as far as the sneakers go. Now, the better question you need to ask is, this is a question you need to ask yourselves when it comes to basketball sneakers, and is it worth it to buy the sneakers? Are you good enough to spend $200 on a pair of basketball sneakers? That's the question you should ask yourself. All right, you got $200 worth of game? If not, go buy yourself some $60 aftermarket Nikes until you get your game up. When you got $100 worth of game, then you go buy them. So if you got to ask yourself if it's worth it, then it's not. I ain't talking about the LeBron. I'm talking about you. All right, do you got $200 feet to be putting in them sneakers that cost $200 to play ball in? Like, do you got enough game to be walking in the gym with some LeBrons on? If you got to ask yourself, you don't. All right, that's my philosophy. Next question. Frosty Breast says, are you going to make more hoop handbooks? When I make one of Tyreek Evans or Joe Johnson? Actually, I'm working on some now. Tyreek Evans and Joe Johnson are not on the menu, but we never know what may happen in the future. But I do got some coming that I'm sure you will enjoy. Vladimir asks, what is your shot release off fingertips? 4 fingers down off the index finger. I don't give a fuck. I don't know about none of that shit. I don't care. I just shoot the fucking ball. I got a lot of videos on shooting. You go to my how-to/tutorials playlist. Again, playlist on my channel. I'll cover this. If you go to my channel, you click on that little magnifying glass and search. Just type in shooting. You'll see all the stuff I've done about shooting. Tutorials, drills, videos, talking. I've covered all that stuff on shooting. Vladimir posted like 30 questions in a row. I'm not answering all these questions, Vladimir. You got a question, post one. If you got to ask me 30 questions, email me, and I might respond to the good ones. Johnny Adane says, Dre, I'm 20 years old. I want to get better as soon as possible because before I get old. He wants to get better as soon as possible before he gets old. What do I think he should do? Everybody say it with me now. Work on your fucking game. Stat Player 2301 says, thanks for answering my question. You're welcome. Mr. Chi 31 says, can I make a video about moving in the game without the basketball? For example, when to clear the lane, when to screen, when to cut, when to move to the open space, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Chi, number one, here's the thing. Number one, if you want to learn how to move about the court in a game, you need to play in games, not watch videos, not watch film. You need to actually play so you can learn. Knowing when to move during the game. That'd be like he's saying, all right, let's say he says when to clear the lane, when to cut. That'd be like, so if I post a video and say, all right, so if the ball goes right here and the player does this, you should cut. How do you know when that example is going to happen exactly like my example in the game? That's not how basketball works. When I cut in a basketball game, is feel. I feel when to cut. I have instincts on when to cut. My instincts for the game don't come from watching nobody on YouTube. They don't come from reading books. They come from playing. If you want to get feel for the game, how to move about on the floor without the basketball is all feel. It's all instinct. The only way you develop feel and instinct is by playing basketball, not watching basketball, not thinking about basketball, not talking about basketball. You got to go play if you want to learn that stuff. Everything in the world is not going to be found on YouTube. All right, and that's coming from a guy with more content on YouTube than anybody you can name. Dean Campbell says, are the D-League tryouts open tryouts? There's certain requirements. Dean, go to the D-League website and read all the information you can find. I do not work for the D-League. I do not represent the D-League. If you want to know about the D-League, go to their website and read it. Don't ask me to answer the questions for you. If you're old enough to be thinking about the D-League or you think you're good enough to think about it, that means you can take responsibility for yourself and go get the information. Don't expect anybody to hand it to you. Mr. Lad 199. I love basketball. I like working on my game, except some drills that I hate doing, but I feel I could be so much better because I'm not that gifted athletically. I could be better at other fields. Do I think if someone's naturally good at something, do you owe it to the world to do that, or should you go against your natural talents and do what you like? That's a tough question, Mr. Lad. I don't really know how to answer that. If you're naturally gifted at something, he's asking if someone's naturally gifted at something, do I feel that they owe it to the world to do that? In a way, you could kind of say that. If you're naturally gifted at something, then it should kind of come easy to you to do it. It should come easy to you to do it in a way, depending on what it is. But I can't really speak for anyone but myself. And do I feel like somebody should do what they like? I feel like you should do what you like in the end. Whatever it is that makes you happy. Because in the end of when you dying, I read these articles, sometimes they say, we interview people who are on their deathbed or people who's real old, and they ask them, like, what are your biggest regrets? And the biggest regrets people come up with, and this is multiple articles, not one thing. Biggest things people say, one thing is, I wish I didn't spend so much time working. Another thing is like away from my family, away from my people. Another thing is I wish I had kept in touch with my friends. Another thing is I wish I had spent more time with my family. Another thing is I wish I had been true to myself and done what I really wanted to do and like did the things that made me happy. And another thing is like I wish I hadn't spent so much time, effort, energy doing things to, impress people or have a certain image when there were things I knew that were true to me that would make me happy that I denied. I wish I hadn't spent so much time doing that. So those are things that old people say, like people who are about to die. Those are things they say about their lives. That's the information I can give you, but as far as what you should do with yourself, like I said before, it's your life. You got to decide your life. I can't decide it for you. Lou M, have you ever had any serious major injuries? Knock on wood, I have not. Heat Nation wins. Has I ever been schooled by a player? Hell yeah, I've been schooled by players. And this is a good question, actually. I'm glad you asked that because these days there's a lot of people who want to claim that they ball players or claim any vocation. If you're in a vocation, you're going to get, especially in sports, which is very competitive, you're going to get your ass kicked. I think about boxing. If you're a boxer, you're a fighter. Like there's a lot of fighters in my family, people who fight MMA and boxing on both my mom's side and dad's side of the family. If you're a fighter, you're going to get knocked on your ass. You fight enough, you're going to get knocked on your ass by somebody bigger and better than you. You're going to get beat. And you're going to beat people. You're going to knock some other people on their ass. That's what happens when you're a fighter. If you're a basketball player, you're going to get your ass bust by better players and you're going to bust some other players' asses. If you're going to call yourself a fighter, that means you've been in the ring with somebody who could kick your ass and you kick their ass. If you're a ball player, you've been on the court with somebody who could kick your ass and you kick their ass or bust their ass or whatever you want to call it. If you ain't been in them battles, then you can't claim that title. Like you can't claim you're a fighter if you ain't never had a bloody nose, a busted lip, or a black eye. Every fighter that had all three of them things. Every fighter been knocked on their ass. All right, even a fighter like I guess Floyd Mayweather, he undefeated. He won out of a million boxers who ain't never been beat. He ain't never been knocked down, fucked up. All fighters been fucked up. They done got their ass busted in front of a bunch of people. If you're a ball player, you done got your ass handed to you by somebody better than you in front of a lot of people. So answering my question, that was just a side note. So if anybody claiming that title, if you ain't never been in them battles, you ain't no ball player. So me personally, yes, I definitely have got my ass busted by better players. NBA players in closed gyms, pickup games growing up, tryouts in high school. If you read my book, Buy a Game, I talk about this, DreAllDay.com/buy a game. I talk about how I got my ass busted at tryouts one time. Read the book, it's free. Nick Joe Brendan says, what height can most people first dunk at? I don't fucking know. I only know about me. I don't even know how tall I was when I first dunked. Kobe Guo says, his birthday's February 3rd like mine. Perfect. That's great. George Lynn says, when did you start lifting weights? Again, in my book, Buy a Game, DreAllDay.com/buy a game. After my freshman year of college when I started lifting weights. I was 19 years old. Devin asked, do I have any other stories to tell on my channel? As I said, when I think of some, I will put Daddy. Says, how often do you lift and play ball? Do I have a specific order in which I do so? I have a video on this where I said, what do you do first? Lift weights, play ball, conditioning, etc. But to answer it here, how often do I lift and play ball? I lift 4 or 5 days a week. Basketball, 5 to 7 days a week. Do I have a specific order? Sometimes I'll lift first and then ball. Sometimes I'll play ball first and then lift. Sometimes there's a gap between the two. Sometimes I do them back to back. Is there any best way? No, not as far as I'm concerned. John Doe, he says, it's been over a year since I played ball. I need to get back in the flow and speed of the game. Any tips? Get on the court and start fucking playing. I mean, what are you asking me? I don't understand. People give me these basic information. They ask me, do I have any tips? Go do the thing you talking about doing. You don't need no tips for that. Non-Sped says, would I consider coaching a basketball team once I stop playing? Probably not. There's a 1% chance I could be a coach. So probably not. I'm not cut out for coaching. I'm not interested in coaching. I'm not passionate about coaching. No. Janvier, Hanvier, Dave, he says, I can dunk, but I'm not consistent. Sometimes the rim looks short, next day it looks high. Do you have any advice on how he can become a consistent dunker? Yes. The advice is that you need to jump higher so that it will be consistent. DreAllDay.com/jump. DreAllDay.com/jump. DC is paid. He posted like 10 questions separately. I'm not answering all 10 of these questions. If you got all those questions, email me. He says, do I think that injured players for teams should get rights to championships if they were injured for the postseason that season? Sure, yes, they're part of the team. Everything contributes. Big Mo. This harks back to an earlier question. He says, what should I do if the son of my coach plays over me? But basically he's saying he's better than the son of the coach, but the son of the coach plays more than him. You got 3 choices. Number 1, all this shit you talking in this comment, memorize everything you said in this comment and go say it to the coach's face, which you probably won't do, which is the reason why you're on YouTube talking about it. Option 2, shut the fuck up, play, and accept your position. Work harder. Option number 3, quit and go play for somebody else. Those are your 3 choices. Andres Lopez says, how tall am I? 6'4". How much do I weigh? Give or take a few pounds, about $180 right now. David Nicolay says, I've been busy with life, hasn't had a chance to really ball like I used to. I lost my shot. It feels weird. My confidence is not good. Do I have any advice? Get on the court and start fucking playing. If you want to be better at shooting, go shoot. You're going to be better at ball. You haven't played in a long time. So if somebody comes to me and says, Dre, I haven't played ball in a long time. I want to get good again. What should I do? What the fuck kind of question is that? Go fucking play if you want to be good again. I don't understand the logic behind some of you guys' questions. I think some of you just asking these questions because I'm making myself available to answer, but these are some of y'all ask some stupid fucking questions. Gabrielle Ariola, do I have a one-on-one win-loss record? It'd be great if I had like a record of every game in history, but I played hundreds, maybe thousands of games of one-on-one. I do not know my record, but I know I have a winning record. Let's put it that way. Sandro Santos says he finds it hard to put his elbow in when he shoots. He tried turning his body slightly and it worked. Success rate wasn't as good. Should he go for looks or success rate? He says somebody noticed how my elbow is. I don't even pay attention to my elbow. You probably know more about it than me. The goal of shooting is to make shots. So you need to do what you need to do to make shots. If you need to keep adjusting your form until you find the right one that both feels good and is consistent, that's part of the work. That's why we call it work on your game. You have to do work. Not ask questions about your game. Not watch videos about your game. Not talk about your game. Not read books about your game. Work on your game. If you want to get better at shooting, work on it. You'll get there. GZ Dogs Spence says, when's the next Q&A? Next weekend, as long as I keep getting good questions. Victor Serrano, only got a few questions left. Victor says, I'm his role model, his motivation when it comes to basketball. Have I ever crossed someone so bad that I made them fall? Yes, I have. Unfortunately, I don't think I got that on video, but yeah, I have crossed somebody bad enough to make them fall a few times, maybe 4 or 5 times maybe in my life, but I don't think any of them's on video, so hopefully one day I get something on video. Last question, Ty Breezy says, I'm 6'1", I want to be a better shooter handler, but he can only get 2 hoop handbook programs. For shooting and handling, 6'1", I say his choices are Stephen Curry, Kobe, Kyrie, Derrick Rose. I say Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving. You'd be good with that. That's that. That's all the questions. Thank you everybody for coming through. In the comments to this video, you can leave your questions for the next one. As long as y'all keep coming to me with good quality questions, something that we can discuss, I'm going to keep doing these videos. When the shit get whacked, I ain't doing it no more. That's that. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, strong.
You're like a model.
Like that name, Philadelphia.
Punch card.
That guy's almost too ripped.
Right.